Happy Saturday morning to all those Lions fans out there, Cardinals fans who decided to join us as well. We are less than 24 hours away. Well, actually, no, we are a little over 24 hours away. We got a 4 o'clock start, 4:25 start. Got that down there at the bottom of the screen for everyone. Between our Detroit Lions visiting those pesky Arizona Cardinals out there in the desert. Shanti, what's going on this Saturday morning before we jump into everything?
Yeah. What's up, man? It's time to get back, man. You know what I'm saying? Back to work. You know what I'm saying? It's a long season. I think that as we get into this thing, as we start off our dialogue for this week, man, I think I wouldn't say I don't want to say the sky is falling and this is like a must-win game, but it's sure close to me. You know what I'm saying? This is why I say that. I know we're in week 3, but as we talked about in the pre-show, you know what I'm saying, you already dropped the game to Tampa Bay. If you
Yeah.
don't win this game against the Cardinals, which it's a team I had as my one of my dark horse teams in the NFC, to be pushing for a playoff spot. Um, you don't want to have games not at hand with these teams. Remember, not last year, but the year before that when we lost, we didn't
Seattle.
get in. Yep, we had Seattle. Seattle
Yeah.
had our number. They beat us, and we finished 9-8, and they had the tiebreaker over us. So these are important games. When you get to this junction of the season, early September, it doesn't make or break your season, but it does play a part in playoff seeding and positioning. So in that regard, Walt, it's a big game. I mean, this is the Lions have been much criticized, and everybody was heated. At least I was after last week. So that's what happens, man. When you get a good team, every little thing gets under a microscope, man. You know what I'm saying? We watch an injury report, we watching the press conference, we watching a little bit sharper. You know what I'm saying? We watching practice updates a little bit sharper. So yeah, even this line kind of got me worried because I almost think the Lions got to slow this game down, and 51 and a half points, over and under. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I'm just kind of worried that the Lions can't come out here thinking, we can score 45 and beat this team. You know what I mean? I think that might be a recipe for, yeah, Goff might have a good game, but I don't know, if you want to risk it. You know what I'm saying? I think we still need to play our style of football. So, you could, start us off this week, man, on this game weekend preview.
Certainly. So, as it is stated at the bottom of the screen, Lions at Cards Sunday, 4:25 p.m. kickoff. Over under 51 and a half, money line minus 50, Lions -3. Ashanti, for those listeners out there who may not be um as blended in with those numbers down there, explain those three numbers down there at the bottom for people.
Yeah, the over and under is basically the amount of points that the bookies. I hate to say, I shouldn't say bookie.
That sound dirty too.
Yeah, I should say
The middleman.
that's the number that the
Yeah.
casinos are saying that the total number is going to be. So let's just say if you're betting the over, and let's just say if you want to bet the over on this game, you could say, I think the line's going to win. I think the score is going to be, let's just say 35-31. Then obviously you add those two scores of 66 points and you would actually win money, right? If you bet it money, whether it's $1.50 or 100 or 400 or 1,000 or whatever your preference is, uh yeah, and then the -3 is the amount of points the Lions are favored by. So the Lions would have to win by more than 3, obviously. You know what I'm saying? At least it have to be 3. 24-21, 20-17, 17-14. If they win the game and they only win by 1, you lose the bet pretty much. You know what I'm saying? If
And
you
it'll
get
be
an
vice
18,
versa for the Cardinals.
vice versa for the Cardinals,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, if it's 23-22, you lose. 23-21, you lose. You need 3 points for the Lions to win for you to cash out. So, and then the money line is basically the what, like if you bet 100, basically you'd have to bet 100 to win X amount of dollars with 50, or uh whatever. The money line's kind of confusing sometimes, but not sometimes, when you don't know. And I think I find myself betting the money line a lot if I do bet, because sometimes I don't trust over and under, because it seems like, man, these teams know exactly they know exactly what's going on with the line. Sometimes weird. It's crazy. If anybody ever follows it, they watch it, they kind of know what I'm talking about.
I almost feel like it's cheating going on.
Especially the NBA. The NBA is,
Oh yeah, the NBA
oh my
baseball too. Like
God.
betting on baseball, man, is like it's certain sports
Yeah.
I wouldn't touch. Like really when
Yeah.
it comes to the betting.
Yeah, because I'm gonna just tell you a quick story. Like last year, I think I had it was Sacramento Kings, Golden State Warriors, and the over and under was Walt. It was like 225 or something like that. The over and over two. So I took the over. Right? You like, man, both two high
Yeah.
scoring teams. They gonna both score 120 each. Right? So it came down to like the last 38 seconds, I think it was. And it was almost like I had it in the bag, because they was like 6 away. And I took no, what happened was I took the under. That's what it was. I took the under, and it was like 6 points away. And it was almost like, dude, they called Steve Kerr called a timeout. And it was almost like they knew
What's the line?
what they had to have. And then lo and behold, I think the Kings wound up winning the game, but I think like Klay Thompson hit a couple meaningless 3-point. It was and it broke even, and I lost the bet, and they totally took the money out of my hand, bro. And I was like, it was crazy. It's like, they know, man. They know in some type of weird way. But yeah, the money line is actually is the money, the amount of money that's on said team. Like that, the,
Yeah.
the money is coming in on the Lions right now. You know what I'm saying? On both teams. So you want to have more. Vegas always wins. You got to think of it like that. You know what I'm saying? But you can get your share if you place the right bet. You know what I'm saying? That's why parlays are so popular.
Sometimes the apple cart will get upset though. If you go
Yeah.
back to last year's Super Bowl, all the money for the last 2 days I think was coming in on San Francisco.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Kansas City ended up stealing that game in overtime. I can't remember what the over under was on that
Yeah.
Super Bowl, but Kansas City put a big dent in Vegas
Yeah.
last Super
Mhm.
Bowl. But
Mhm.
all right, man. So like
Yeah.
I said, over under 51.5, money line minus 150, Lions -3. So if we look at the history, at least the recent history between these two teams,
Crazy.
Lions have won 4 out of the last 5 games against Arizona. They haven't played since 2020. Was it 2020? I
Yep.
think.
Kobe year. Yeah. When Patricia, was it
Oh,
Patricia?
2021. No, they had the last time they played was
Oh,
2021. They
at,
beat
at
Arizona 30-12.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. At our place, right? We beat them.
Yep. The game you talking about, the Arizona game with the overtime game, was back in 2019.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, we've had our share of recent success against the Arizona Cardinals for the most part. Like I said, we won 4 out of the last 5 against them. I don't put um a big deal on that, because when you're talking about 2-3 year gaps between playing teams, you're talking about different coaching staffs have came and gone, quarterbacks in some situations have came and gone, players have come and gone. But I still find it interesting when two teams, two organizations go through that many changes over a 5, 6, 7 year period, but one team still manages to always have another team's number for the most part.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna get into the injury report first. No, matter of fact, you know what? No, I'm not gonna touch the injury report first. First of all, I'm gonna post this graphic up here. I'm gonna go through a few things for everyone, all the listeners out there. If you look at Arizona head coach Jonathan Gannon, Arizona's currently 1-1 on the season. They should be 2-0. Some people feel if you look at that week 1 game against Buffalo at Buffalo, they pretty much had Buffalo beat for the first 3 quarters until Josh Allen put on his cape and brought the Bills back and stole that game. They went into week 2 at home against a familiar foe, not St. Louis Rams, the LA Rams. Rams have had some injuries for the most part. They laid one on the Rams. Now, how people want to view Arizona, after the first couple weeks, you can say, well, you know what? Detroit also beat the Rams. They ran the ball on the Rams really well, something you and I discussed
Mm-hmm.
prior to week one, that week one game against the Rams. We both felt that Detroit could run the ball on the Rams because the Rams, while they do have a defensive front that can rush the passer, they're also very undersized. So I think teams like Detroit and teams like Arizona even woke up and said, you know what? We can run the ball on these dudes. We can't run the ball on a lot of teams, but I bet you we can run the ball on the Rams, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the Buffalo game, they played pretty well offensively. If they would have gotten Marvin Harrison Jr. maybe 2 or 3 targets, he might have been the difference in them holding off Buffalo for that matter. But you look at Kyler Murray, he's a game changer. He's an improviser. Lions fans know that. Everyone around the league knows that. He's got a vertical arm, and he's routinely looking downfield for shots. He's a playmaker.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that can either break a run for 45 yards, or he can throw a 60-yard touchdown. He's dangerous. He's confident out there in the pocket. People look at Kyler and say, well, he's a midget. He's this, he's that. And we went through a long week of Bryce Young criticism about his size. Not Baker, but I'm looking at Buda Baker. You can make the argument. I think he's bigger than Bryce Young, like thickness wise, but he may be shorter than Bryce Young, or like right on par with Bryce Young. But I think what makes Kyler so different and why Kyler is so successful is, first of all, his confidence. You can't tell Kyler he's not 6'4". Kyler's very, very confident in what he can do. He's always been that way since high school. He was that way at Oklahoma. It's borderline arrogance. I think when you're a player like him, his size, you have to be confident. You have to be borderline overconfident, because if you're not confident in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you. And I think a lot of what Kyler does well, and I got the arrow right there pointed down to Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr., there was a big fuss made about week one, him not getting too many targets, and what Kyler Murray said, it's not my job to get him the ball or whatnot. You see, week two, they went out there and they got him the damn ball,
Yeah, for sure.
and they won. Right now, the Cardinals are having success on third down. That can be completely credited right to them being fourth in the league in rushing yards right now. You look at the defense, they run a base 3-4, multiple fronts. They will mix in some 4-2-5 in there from time to time. They'll even go 5-1 with one linebacker out there from time to time. They believe in putting majority of the pressure on their defensive line. Now, this is a defensive line that still isn't really good,
Yeah,
talent wise.
yeah.
I think it's something that we can expose. I got a question mark right there for them when it comes to defensive trenches. I think that's an area where Detroit should dominate. We said the same thing about Tampa last week. We should dominate Tampa on the line. You looked at the fact that Vita Vea was having his issues. He left out that game. Antoine Winfield Jr. did not play. And it's almost as if Detroit went in there with the game plan of, we're going to throw the ball all day on these dudes. Forget the run game. And it was to their detriment. I think if we would have stuck with the run game last week, this is a team that we should have beaten a little bit easier, because we dominated Tampa in all areas. And then finally, Buda Baker, one of the best safeties in football. You must identify where Buda Baker is at all times. Is he in the box? Is he in the slot? Is he online? Is he the joker? Is he the robber? In that quarter, is he high? Is he shallow? So with that being said,
Yeah.
I think Arizona's growing. I was kind of high on Arizona too. This not high as far as them being a playoff team. I thought Arizona was going to cause some fits for some teams. I still think Arizona's somewhere like around an 8-win team, maybe 9 wins. Wouldn't shock me if Arizona did pull out 9 wins. But overall, when you look at that graphic I posted, I know it got some things jogging in your mind. You already have some things jogging in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
When you take what I put up there and you apply it to what Detroit does well or does not do well, what do you think is our biggest situation that we have to take advantage of against Arizona?
Yeah, you said it, man. The 4-2-5. I think that's a recipe for us to get the run game going this week. You know what I'm saying? Especially Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs, this is his opportunity that he can make some plays, man, because I do think it'll be a little bit more space for him to run. You know what I mean? Even though he's got enough speed to get to where he needs to go. I think a lot of times, Jahmyr Gibbs bounces outside. he's doomed a lot of times. I think this game right here is a perfect example where we could see him flourish, just like a couple games like the Raiders game last year, you know what I'm saying? Notably kind of the same kind of defense setup. And I just believe that this is going to be a game where it will be decided in the trenches. You know what I'm saying? Our offensive line, listen, our offensive line really hasn't been that great, to be honest with you. The first two games, it's supposed to be our strength. I think we're gonna get back to that walk. I do think the Lions are the better team. They should win this game, in my opinion. But just going off of mano a mano, I think we got more talent than the Cardinals, but the Cardinals can score, and I think that's going to pose a threat for the Lions, man. If they let's just say like Tampa, remember last week they jumped right on the Lions and scored and got the crowd out of the game, forced the Lions to do some things that they really wasn't accustomed to. I think, like you said, the game plan last week was to throw the rock, from the start. But I don't know if they abandoned the run kind of quick last week. So hopefully this week, I think if we take what they're giving us defensively, I think that we can take advantage of that and do some good things, Walt. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Buda Baker, love a guy. I remember we were talking about Buda Baker last year, talking about possibly excuse me, getting him in a trade or something like that. When we needed safety help, some experienced veteran leadership. Oh man, sneezing today.
Bless you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, but I think as a whole, James Conner posed a threat to me a little bit. You know what I mean? Very underrated. I think people don't talk about James Conner enough, man.
Tough
Hard
runner.
nosed, tough, really tough, man. Can get where he needs to get. Runs through the tackles, in between the tackles very well. Can sniff the end zone when he's close. I like that about him. Kyler Murray's a guy, and I've always kind of said that Kyler Murray doesn't pose a threat at all. But you know what? I give Jonathan Gannon credit, man, and the organization. They stuck by him, and I think for now he knows he has the vote of confidence from the organization. I think that that's making him better and not press so much and know he's the quarterback of his team. And Kyler Murray, listen, he's got some talent, man, regardless of his size. I mean,
Definitely.
I bring it up a lot, but you know what I'm saying? That don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? As far as him going out, I can just picture this scenario. If Kyler Murray's hot, if he's cooking, third and eights, third and nines, third and tens. He goes back, everybody's covered. He'll get the first down. And I think that'll be the difference in the game, Walt. If he's able to get the first down at will, we've seen that in the past with the Lions defense. I think their line's going to be in trouble. I really do. I think that people just don't realize, the damage he could do with his legs. We seen a little bit of sample size last week because Baker Mayfield, he threw for 170, 180 something yards, I think it was. And remember, Chris Godwin got 117 yards in that game, all in the first half last week. And you say,
Yeah.
well, what did Baker do that was so special? Well, he got a couple key first downs and ran for him and kept the chains moving and basically iced the game for him. You know what I'm saying? I could see the same thing with Kyler Murray. I don't know if he's got discipline yet down the field. That's another thing. Like Marvin Harrison Jr., they listen, organization smart. They know you got to get your number one guy to the ball, man, period. You know what I'm saying? And they sprung him up. I was surprised, though, that they got him open the way that he was open, like he was open on a lot of those plays last week. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and we know Marvin Harris is a great route runner. We know that. You know what I'm saying? Polished, absolutely the best receiver in this draft coming out. So we knew that Marvin Harrison can get loose and get, find the coverage and find a soft spot, stuff like that. But I don't know if they're going to have that much success, Walt, against our secondary. I don't know, man. I think that the bottom line going to come down to Kyler Murray making the right decision on third down. And I think if he does that and gets some confidence, man, look out. You could be in a 38-35 game.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think Kyler Kyler's obviously talented. He went number one overall. You see the arm talent. for sure. He's not reckless with the football. He's not out there turning the ball over left or right. He wants to run. The thing is about Kyler, it's always been with Kyler. Can he stay healthy? And if you look at the talks that have always been around about Kyler and his attitude and him not being a leader and all this other stuff,
Yeah.
people got to remember when Kyler plays, this is a team that wins. This
Yeah.
was a team 2 years ago. Remember down the stretch and they lost that wild card game at the Rams. They were 9-1
Yeah.
at one point in time with Kyler Murray as the quarterback. So they're a better team with him. If you look at how they started last season, they played tough. The way a first year head coach with a bunch of undrafted free agents and fourth and fifth round picks can play.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
galvanized everything in that locker room and they all played together. Once Kyler Murray came back later on in the season, the offense took off. They looked a whole lot better. And to me, that's the signs of a franchise quarterback. You know, when I'm gone, we're bad. When I come back, we're a legitimate threat to beat anybody on any given Sunday. I want to go through some of these injuries right here, real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because I think these injuries are going to play a huge role in
Yeah.
what this game eventually unfolds into. If you look at the Lions' injuries, Graham Glasgow questionable with a knee, Alexander Lonely questionable, still in concussion protocol. Uh, Traquan Smith out, Michael Badgley out, Emmanuel Mosley, of course, out, Kaminsky out, Ifeatu Melifonwu out with an ankle, still isn't practicing yet. Antoine Green concussion, Connor Galvin knee out, Broderick Martin out with a knee, Terrion Arnold dealing with an illness, questionable. He's probably going to play. Ennis Rakestraw will not play. He's out with a hamstring.
Mm.
Isaiah Williams abdomen, he's questionable, and of course Christian Mahogany, he's out, and defensive lineman Nate Lynn, he's out. Go over to the Arizona Cardinals offensive tackle veteran Kelvin Beachum, who actually follows me on LinkedIn. Matter of fact,
Oh
he's
yeah.
questionable. Yeah, he's questionable. He do a lot of stuff in the NFL, man. He's a renaissance man. Beachum, he's out with a hamstring. Wide receiver Zay Jones, I think this is key for them. Also, he's out with a suspension.
Mm-hmm.
Jonah Williams, offensive tackle, out with a knee injury.
Mm.
Wide receiver Greg Dortch, big time
Yeah.
playmaker downfield. He's questionable with a hamstring.
Yeah.
Even if he plays, you're talking about dealing with a hamstring, so he's going to be limited. Guard Carter O'Donnell, he's out, undisclosed issues. Edge rusher BJ Ojolari, he's out with a knee injury. Defensive tackle Dante Stills, he's questionable with a shoulder injury. Cornerback Elijah Jones, rookie out of Boston College, he's questionable. No, actually, he's out too with a heel injury.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie offensive tackle Christian Jones out of University of Texas, he's out with an ankle injury. And defensive rookie Darius Robinson, a guy who a lot of Lions fans thought could potentially come here, he's out today with a calf injury. I'm gonna say this right now. I think all those injuries I mentioned, especially on the defensive side of the ball, those are things that everyone who's out there betting on this game, wagering on this game, gambling, however you want to put it, those injuries will directly affect the over under. Both teams are limited defensively right now this year. Well, this game for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Over under, you're talking about 51 and a half. I think the over under, we can start getting into some of this as well as far as the gambling part, the betting part of it. I think it's going to go over mainly for one reason you mentioned earlier. I think it's going to be difficult to stop Kyler.
Yep.
You know, when it's 3rd and 13,
Mm-hmm.
does he break contain and pick up 28 yards on 3rd and 13 to keep that
Yeah.
drive alive?
Yep.
And then, you know, because also, who's his responsibility? They already scoffed at the fact of, well, they already scoffed at the idea of putting a spy out there, because when you put a spy on the quarterback, it limits the rest of the defense, and I get that. And even by people on 97.1 early in the week were talking about Jack Campbell spying Kyler Murray. There's nothing Jack Campbell can do with Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
I understand he was a good athlete in college, but there's not too many linebackers out there that you're going to just, hey, you go handle Kyler Murray. What is Zach Campbell? What is Jack Campbell really going to do in the open field when Kyler Murray's coming at him? I think it's going to be a team effort within that front seven. Also, I think they're going to have to run a lot more 3-4. You want to get as many athletes on the field and keep as many athletes on the field as possible. I think when it comes to defending Kyler Murray. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was thinking you could spy. I think what about putting Brian Branch? You know what I'm saying? I was thinking maybe moving him up. He's versatile as hell. You know what I'm saying? Or even like Malcolm Rodriguez been getting some PT lately. And I was thinking Malcolm Rodriguez is a good sure tackler, man. And he's a little bit, he undersized anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I think he a little bit bulkier, he's strong as hell. I think you can put him on it. I say Malcolm, go out there. You know what I'm saying? And I think he could do it. But Brian Branch would be my answer, just because it kind of hurts that Rakestraw's not playing, man. I mean, I don't know. They kind of raised my eyebrows 2 weeks in a row. That kid it hasn't seen the field, man. So,
I think Terrion too.
yeah,
Terrion
Terrion.
had a rough couple weeks.
Yeah,
Now you're
I'm
talking
excited.
about first a top 5 pick in Marvin Harrison Jr. walking through the door.
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
That's gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? Terrion gonna play, man. You know what I'm saying? He got that swag like that. He gonna play. And that's gonna be a good matchup. I'm very interested to see how that's gonna go. If he can cover him 1-on-1, that's gonna be awesome. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's a very good question, Walt, about Jack Campbell and we know Barnes and Anzalone, two guys that's kind of they need to stay and play. They need to stay in their area. Anzalone every now and then can make some plays on the outer, but to go full time spy mode, I would have him. Like Grind Branch and Mac Rodriguez. That's what I would do. You know what I'm saying? Because you got two guys. I wish Melifonwu was playing. He would kind of be a physical guy that you in the back, or you can move him up, line of scrimmage, stuff like that. But yeah, I agree with you. I do see that with Kyler Murray being an issue. I do, man. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Like you said, trying to get off the field and we can't. You know what I mean? And then what happens? A snowball effect. You get 2 or 3 first downs on one drive and you score. You know what I'm saying? And they may have to win a game like this. They might bait the Lions into throwing the ball again, depending on if we're down in this game. And listen, I'm not doom and gloom. They are gonna. I think the Lions are gonna win this game. I just want everybody to be clear. I think that. Yeah, that's my brother. Yeah, Terry, are you right, bro? Because it's a tough transition. I'll talk to somebody about that this week too, about Terry and Arnold. I don't know, man. I think the pass interference, the first game against the Rams. Remember the one he was turned around and he kind of just was trying to hit the ball, and he got and I thought that was a horrible pass interference. That's just something that went against him. I think that Terry and Arnold's
No,
fine, man.
I think we discussed that after the draft. When you're a
Yeah.
rookie and you're a handsy rookie, you have to earn the respect of the refs. They're not gonna give you those calls right now. Now, maybe later on in the season,
Yeah,
once he gets
later
a,
on.
a pick or two and he
Yeah.
starts showing that he can do a little bit more, they'll let you get away with more. But as of right now, they're not gonna let him get away with that.
You think they're gonna try him like that? I think that you think that Kyler Murray, you think he got enough velocity on the ball like that where
Hell yeah, man, dude. Kyler has the arm talent. Kyler has plenty of arm talent, and he's got
you
Marvin out there. If you
yeah,
ask me, Marvin Harrison Jr. versus Terrion Arnold, yeah, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a better player than Terrion Arnold. I'm just saying, if I'm Arizona, I'm not shying away from him or Carlton Davis. If I got Marvin out there and Trey McBride as well, I think Trey McBride is a dark horse player in this game. Because if you look at the fact that Detroit used to struggle handling tight ends last season, historically, we didn't really see too much tight end action the first couple weeks
yeah.
of the season. But I think Trey McBride is also a guy. I love Trey McBride. Liked him coming out of Colorado State. He's a catch machine. He's a guy that was a do-it-all player offensively for Colorado State when he was there, similar to what Sam Laporta was at Iowa. But if we go to the offensive side of the ball with Detroit, as questionable as the Cardinals' defensive front is, you talking about running that 3-4, and the best way to attack a 3-4 is to spread those linebackers out even more and just run the ball up the middle. That's the best thing you can do is run the ball up the middle against the 3-4. Now, my question is with Ben Johnson and with the way they seem to fall in love with the passing game, are they just going to spread them out, have the ability to just gash them all these open run lanes up the middle? Because you don't even have to necessarily run duo, which we run a lot of duo with the offensive line against Arizona.
Yeah.
But if we run duo against Arizona, you talking about 15 yards, 20 yards, like at clips against them. But are they more caught up in we're gonna spread Arizona out and we just gonna throw the ball on them?
Yeah.
And then you get away from a realistic game plan, and now you find yourself in a 17-17 game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And then too, the other guy who I like on Arizona, Michael Wilson from Stanford.
Yeah,
He's been a guy. He's been another guy that's been balling, man. The first couple games. That's another. Cardinals got some firepower, more so than Tampa did. You know what I'm saying? They got more guys that are capable pass catchers. From the tight end spot, like you said. I think they're more complete offensively than the Bucks, but I don't think that the Cards are well versed defensively like Tampa was, and I think that's going to be the problem for them. I'm not worried about our offense. I'm not, man. I think that they'll get it right. You know what I'm saying, this week. I think that they'll come up with the right game plan. The only thing is just I worry about is Kyler Murray. He's the X factor to me. I think everything else, because he's the guy that's you're gonna throw your hands up in the air and throw your playbook and slam it on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a guy that can turn around. Like, we don't have that threat at quarterback, to run the ball and to keep the chains moving per se. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? If the play's not there for Goff, then that's a wasted down, or is second down or third down. I think they got the advantage. What I do, I think, because right now you could say, well, the Lions we were 1 for 7 in the red zone last year, last week. It was
yeah,
ridiculous. And you hear now that Laporta's like coming out of an injury. I thought it was real weird that he hasn't gotten the ball, and I think that's Dan Campbell said as much, that they pretty much like didn't have him in the game plan too much. You know what I'm saying? Because he
yeah.
was still recovering from the injury. So hopefully he's been kind of going easy in practice, and he's ready to go tomorrow, man, when they play. You know what I'm saying? I think that this is gonna be a huge game, man. It's matchups across the board that the Lions take advantage of, but the two areas that I don't like, you mentioned it, man, with Carlton Davis, and I'm not gonna say I don't like the matchup with Terrion Arnold, because I like Terrion Arnold. I think he's a guy that's just, people has to relax, man, and just let him play on the island. Just I think
Fans
that
don't relax though.
he's capable.
Fans are either way left or they way right. I saw somebody on, was it? It was on Facebook a couple days ago, comparing Terrion Arnold to Deion Sanders. Talking about
Yeah, well, no, I
he's
wouldn't do
got
that.
Deion Sanders confidence. Like
No, well,
really? Like,
he do got
how many
swag though.
corners have confidence though? Like can we,
Got to play the
as
position.
fans, we can't wait to over blush our players. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, just let the dude become a really good player in the league first. Let him become a good player first of all. You know what I'm saying? We
yeah,
both said prior to the season he was gonna get cooked.
yeah,
Rakestraw is gonna get cooked. They're rookies. Rookies get cooked. They rookies have bad games. If you're going up against a competent offensive coordinator, he's gonna put together a game plan to cook a rookie.
yeah.
Like that's just how it is. If I was
That's
an
what it is.
offensive coordinator, I'm going at you over there.
I want to see Kyler try to challenge him. I don't know if
Yeah.
Kyler can do it. That's just me. I think we know Marvin Harrison get open. We know that's not even a question. It's just I want to see if Kyler. What I'm saying is, can he throw it in a tight window situation against it? Is he going to try Terrion like that? And I don't know. Well, if he able to, it might be a pick six going the other way. If he try that, to me, Harrison would have to be like wide open. I'm saying if he owned Marvin Harrison, is Kyler Murray? I don't know if his arm
We
like
talking
that.
about Kyler. We talking about, you don't know if Kyler's arm is like that?
Not like that. Not like rah like
Man,
that. I don't. He ain't Stafford out there throwing a rock like that. So I ain't seen it. But
man. Kyler has a big arm. And Kyler's confident.
if he could,
Yeah.
listen. If he could make those kind of plays, it might be a long day. You know what I mean? I think that, to me, he gonna set up open receivers through his running ability. You know what I'm saying? And then we gonna be so worried about him, then somebody leaks. So, like you said, Trey McBride down the middle of the field, or you got a wide open Marvin Harrison because everybody committed to the run, that type of thing. So, I love it. I love the end game. What's gonna happen with this thing? I think that this is the first. Let's see. Last week, we had Cooper Cup. I was thinking, yeah, Terrion ain't getting a week off, man, because he had Mike Evans and Godwin last week. Cooper Cup, yeah. I mean, it beat goes on. Next week it's gonna be DK Metcalf. You know what I'm saying? It's like CD Lamb.
Yeah.
I think he's getting baptized by fire, which you kind of want, like you said, maybe end of the year. He's playing better. So.
All right, so let's get down to the nitty gritty of this. Over under 51 and a half. I
Yeah.
got it actually. And this, you ever been gambling and looked at
Uh-huh.
the over under and said to yourself after the game was over, they killed me with that half? And I think that's what's going to happen. I got it. I got the over under right at 51. I got 27-24 Detroit.
You know.
Um, yep. Um, He's
Yeah.
sitting there -3. Like it's gonna be sitting right there, right at -3. So, like I said, I think it goes right under at
Oh.
27-24. I think it's gonna be a tight game. I
Mhm.
think it's gonna be tough defending a mobile quarterback like Kyler, similar to what it is defending a guy like Lamar Jackson. Difference is between Lamar and Kyler. Kyler's a better just natural thrower of the football than Lamar is. But if you look at Baltimore's offense and how Baltimore attacked us, Baltimore hammered us last season.
Mhm.
And how did we try to cover Baltimore? We zoned against Baltimore and they just
Yeah.
ate us alive
Hopefully they
underneath.
learn. Hopefully you're right. Well,
Yeah.
that's a good comparison. You know what I'm saying? I was just gonna bring that up too. Hopefully they learn because, like you said, it's similar. And Lamar Jackson is a thrower of football to me more. I want to see Kyler Murray do it. I trust your judgment. You quarterback guru. But I want to see him do it. I think that's the $1 million question for this game, man. And I got the game going over. I got the Lions 28-25. I
Three
think,
points, huh?
yeah, I think we
Right
will
at that
cover,
three.
and I think it will be over. That's how I'm going with this one. You know what I mean? I think they're gonna bait us into playing like up tempo. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we slow the game down and control this game, then Lions definitely gonna win. But I just think we're gonna make more plays when we have to. It could come down to the last drive of the game, something like that. I think get us in field goal range and we win the game. That's what I think is gonna happen.
Gotcha. All right, man. Let's move on to this next game. Lions fans, don't be alarmed. This is something new we're gonna start doing for you guys moving forward because I know there's a lot of people out here that's in the fan duel and DraftKings and getting on the phone and calling their bookie for the most part.
Yeah.
What are the odds? Ravens, Cowboys, Eagles, Saints. What you got? We're gonna start with the Cowboys and Ravens for that matter.
Ravens Cowboys, yeah. I mean, you look at it, Baltimore's coming in this thing. It's just basically a pick 'em game, and the over and under did move down to 47 and a half as of this morning on DraftKings. Listen, Cowboys at home, 1-1. Ravens 0-2. You look at it, man, it's a big game. I mean, the Ravens cannot go 0-3. This way I look at it. I'm taking the Ravens only because I think they're going to be desperate as hell, Walt. They have to win this game, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But if they don't lose, only because I think their division too, you got the Browns and the Bengals, both have been struggling out the gate, and Pittsburgh has been, really good actually, especially defensively. So I do look at it. I trust. I trust that Harbaugh. I trust that the running game with Derrick Henry is going to work this week. I think that whatever it is that's happened the last 2 weeks, with the Cowboys, I think that's going to be a microcosm in their season. If I switch to them, I don't know if they're the team that just blew the doors off Cleveland. And I don't think that they're the team that got just trucked by the Saints last week. I think they're somewhere in the middle. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're that good, and I don't think they're that bad. To be honest with you, I think they are a playoff team, but this is a game where I'm giving a nod to Lamar Jackson. I think that they have. Oh boy, they have it defensively where I think they got more defensively where they could cause Dak Prescott to be confused, to make some errant throws. We've seen it before. He targets in on CD Lamb. Do they even have a tight end in Dallas? I haven't even seen him throw to anybody else
Jake
other
Ferguson
than.
and some other guys.
Oh yeah, I know. I was just being facetious,
Oh
but
no, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? He don't throw to anybody but CD Lamb. It's crazy, and he get away with it. It works though. It works. I think not having a running game, like they're used to having, I think that's might be an issue for Dallas. I think that Baltimore can control the game. The line is not offensively. I take that back. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson's gonna have to be able to get off for this team to do anything. I think this the perfect game to do it though, because I'm not for sure if the Cowboys are ready for a mobile quarterback as well. I mean, I don't know, man. I look like I go back to Cleveland, and when Deshaun Watson was kind of like kicking the rust off, right? And it was like nothing he did was effective. And I think that now Baltimore's seen that tape, and now you insert Lamar Jackson with the same game plan Cleveland had, and I would say Lamar Jackson would be more successful to me. I don't know, and I don't think the Cowboys have a hella home field advantage because they don't. You know what I'm saying? That mystique is gone. I think with this team, I'm taking the Ravens. I think that the over and under, it's going to be under that, though. I think the under 47.5 to me, I can see, 20, I can see 21-17, something like that, 21-18, something low, you know, uh, because to me, I just don't believe in the Cowboys. I don't. I think that in that division with the Eagles, I think Washington and Dallas is going to be maybe like trying to figure out who's going to be that second team. You know what I'm saying, in that division. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna take Baltimore in this. One thing I think people need to really take into account too, Lamar in his career is 20-3 against the NFC. Oddly enough, he's only played Dallas once. That was back in 2020, and they beat Dallas. They hammered Dallas 34-17 at home at Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Weird though, the only three losses he has to NFC teams in his career are to the Giants, to the Panthers, and to the Saints.
Mm.
Nobody good. Like he's beaten all of the good, the really good teams though, for that
Yeah,
matter.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, Dallas, you look at they're to me they're the same Dallas. You look at last season, they started week one, they destroyed the New York Giants on was it Monday night,
yeah.
and then they
40 to
turned
10 or
around and
something.
then
Yeah.
they got destroyed week two at Arizona. What did they do this year? They destroyed Cleveland, then they turn around and got destroyed by the Saints
Mm-hmm.
badly at home. So I'm taking Baltimore. I think it's gonna cover. I think if you look at the over under on that is 48. I'm gonna go over. I think Dallas will score some points in this game. Just considering how bad they were last week, I just don't see them coming out as flat and bad as they were last week. Both teams are coming off of losses. Baltimore is 0-2. Dallas is 1-1. Baltimore, that franchise is a very proud franchise. That's a proud head coach. That's a
Yeah,
proud quarterback. They know if
yeah,
they go 0-3, it's probably over for them.
yeah, yep, yep.
You
That's
know,
the same thing.
especially with the rest of that schedule they got coming up.
Yeah, I love
So yeah,
Al Hamilton and Marlon Humphrey. Oh man, dude, that I think Dak gonna have his hands full. That's how I feel. I think he'll be running for his life. I think that neither offensive line is that great to me. But I think that the Ravens got a little bit more defensively. So, and then watch Isaiah Likely. I think that he's another guy. You scouted him. I remember before he got drafted, and all he's done is made plays, man, since he's been in the league so far.
yep.
Him and Mark Andrews together, I think that's a good tandem. So, yeah, I like Baltimore.
What's the
And then
score?
I say 20. I say 21-8, 21-17. I'll go Ravens. I think it's going to be an under game. They're going to cover though. Obviously it's a pick 'em game, but I say under.
Okie dokie. Let's get ready to
Now,
move on to the other game. We got
Eagles
Saints and
Saints, yeah,
Eagles.
yeah,
Yep. The numbers did change on that, so I'm gonna post this, but you can go ahead and let everybody know the differences in these numbers right now.
Yeah, yep. Then as of right now, like this was Thursday, start of before the game started on Thursday. But now it's three. So something fishy's going on with this. Not really. It's just probably maybe an injury or something that we don't know about on the Eagles side. Somebody might not be playing. I don't have it in front of me. Forgive me. But yeah, New Orleans is -3 over and under 49 and a half. This is going to be a high scoring game. I think both teams ain't going to be able to help but to throw the ball. It's too much talent on both sides of the ball. This New Orleans, what they're doing is real. I was on New Orleans train last year, and I think now it's coming together. I didn't believe in the head coach, but I think that the new offensive coordinator has really turn this team into a juggernaut, at least the first time. We see this every year. With last year, remember we seen it with Miami scoring a bunch of points early, and beating their opponents, just outscoring them basically, turning every game to a track meet. I think this gonna be a perfect game. It's gonna be a really good game. I really do. I think the Eagles gonna go in there and win though. But I do think it's gonna be over, and I got Philly. Philly looked good to me. The first game against the Packers, they did look good. They did lose to the Falcons. I mean, they did, but I think they more so gave the game away, in my opinion. I think that I'm high on Jalen Hurd as it is. I think Philly got some run in them, man. I don't think that people trying to bury him. I do think the Saints are a playoff team, the way they keep, the way they can score, but I just think that they lose this game, but I think it's going to be high scoring. I think Derek Carr. I've always been a Derek Carr fan. He just always disappoints me, but hey, he could throw the rock. I mean, that's obvious. He a gunslinger back there, and if he plays comfortable and you don't have to depend on him to maybe win the game, like per se, like it don't have to come down to a final drive. I think that he could the first three quarters, he'll let it rip. He'll score 40 in a minute. You know what I'm saying? He like Kirk Cousins a little bit. They'll score 40. They'll score 35 on you. You know what I'm saying? They might not win, but they'll score some points. So I'm intrigued by how the contrast of styles is gonna go do it. Saquon Barkley Walt's been excellent for the
Yeah.
Eagles right now. That's been just the I think what they needed, a security blanket for Jalen Hurt. AJ Brown, hopefully he plays. Now, maybe AJ Brown's not playing again. I mean, I don't know the injury report, so that might be a situation if he doesn't. But Devonta Smith it proves every game, man, to me that he's getting ascending as one of the top receivers in the league. You know what I'm saying? They still got the good offensive line, that can push the pile a little bit. So you got Chauncey Gardner back there making plays. He didn't do it for the Lions, but he's doing it for the Eagles all of a sudden. So, him. What's the other kid? What's the Reed Blankenship? Really like him. Good linebacker play. I like the Eagles, man. I really do. I like the Saints too, but I'm gonna take the Eagles this week, Walt, and it's gonna go over.
You and I disagree completely on this, man. I'm gonna take the Saints in this
I
game. I don't
cannot
like.
believe you
I
taking
don't
the
like what
Saints.
and you know how badly I got the Saints leave a bad taste in my mouth for all those years of gambling. I lost a lot of money betting on Drew and them boys, man. Um, I don't like what I've seen from the Eagles since last season. They started 10-1, and once stuff really started to fall apart for them, they look bad overall, offensively, defensively. I don't like what I saw the first couple weeks of the season from Philly. Um, the fan base there seems to really hate Jordan Davis right now. Jalen Carter's been underperforming. Both of those guys are 2 first-round picks, 2 high 1st-round picks that they're not really getting anything from.
Mm.
So and then the Saints seem I don't on paper the Eagles are better. I think name wise, but I think the Saints right now know more about who they are. They beat the Eagles last year 20-10. They know how to beat the Saints. I mean, to beat the Eagles. Then 2 years prior to that, the Eagles won, I think, 40 something to 20. But they were able to run the ball over 200 yards on them. Hurts had a huge game running the football. And what I've noticed since that Super Bowl loss to Kansas City, teams have now stopped him from running the football. Like, we're not gonna let you throw all these kill shots downfield to Devontae Smith and AJ Brown and break off 40-yard runs. You got to pick and choose, bro. And since that Kansas City Super Bowl that they lost, teams have done a great job of loading that box and shutting down Jalen Hurts' running attack, his rushing attack, his rushing lanes. I'm going to take the Saints. Right now it's at, what was it at?
49 and a half.
Yep. I got New Orleans 23-17. I think they covered that 3 points too as well. I just, as much as I like the Philadelphia Eagles on paper, I'm just not believing it right now, bro. I'm not. They look like a ragtag football team where the head coach's voice in that locker room has went dead. I don't know. Maybe they drafted too many Georgia players. We already know how that Georgia program is, with how things go down there. But yep, like I said, I'm gonna take the under and I'm gonna take the Saints to cover and to win outright. All right, let's finish this up, man. This you. What you got?
Yeah, anytime touchdowns. Just if anybody want any side action, just look at it here, man. This will tell the story here this week for the Lions. Gibbs is -30. Remember, this is anytime touchdowns. Anytime in the game, even if it goes to overtime. Gibbs is -130. Montgomery's -130. St. Brown +125. Laporta +155. JMO +165. I'm just telling you right now, if I was throwing some money down, definitely I'm putting everything on Laporta scoring a touchdown this week. You know what I'm saying? And +155, you would have to, if you bet, I think it was, I did a trial run. I think if you bet $15, I think you win 45 or something like that with DraftKings. You know what I'm saying? So the turnaround would be pretty good if you put it on Laporta with a +50, 155. He's been non-existent for 2 weeks. Gibbs is a given. So what this graphic is saying is Gibbs and Montgomery is a given. They probably going to score a touchdown. Now it gets dicey. If you want to maybe get some jackpot action, you want to get a nice windfall for the week, go throw some on JMO. You know what I'm saying? That JMO is the +165. That's that they saying it's highly unlikely he's going to score a touchdown in this game. And we've seen he's been Jared Goff's main target the first 2 weeks of the season. So we know St. Brown, hey, he came up gimpy last week, so they're in Vegas seeing that. They said, listen, we saw St. Brown limping off the field, so chances are he may not score a touchdown. So the money makers this week is St. Brown, Laporta, and Williams, in my opinion, because of those numbers. Gibbs and Montgomery, you could throw something on there, but it's pretty much going to be even money with those two. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a given. Those two guys, Walt is a main cog of our offense, and it's not going to be any – it wouldn't be a surprise to see Gibbs or Montgomery score. Now you go maybe next week we can go 2 touchdowns. I think now that's it's big money on all those guys. But right now, if I had to put my money down, it would be Laporta for me this week. So St. Brown, Laporta, and Williams got good turnarounds to make you some cash this week, everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna go walk a little bit on the wild side.
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance. I'm gonna say I think there's a good chance 4 of these dudes score. Because when you
Yeah.
look at our matchups offensively against them defensively, I
Mhm.
think Montgomery probably scores. Just because I think we're gonna, after last week's game, I just feel like Campbell and Ben Johnson offensively, from a scheme standpoint and a philosophy standpoint, they're going to get right back to what they need to be. So I'm thinking Montgomery scores on the ground. He may get a couple.
Mhm.
I think St. Brown, Laporta, and Williams all score as well.
Yeah. I
Just because I
like
think
that.
we just have so many matchups, and if Buddha isn't on the back end consistently, because they need Buddha Baker in the box too to help out against the run. If he's
Yeah.
not on that back end, we take advantage of those young corners out there, and I think we have a field day.
Yeah.
Should,
Yeah.
should.
Yeah. I agree. 100%. 100%. Anytime touchdowns, I think it's a real fun way to stay live into the game because remember, you get 4 quarters and then overtime, you know what I'm saying, for your guy to score. So I think that's an easy, way to, get out of a slump if you've been not hitting your bets. Hey, you try anytime touchdown. You know what I'm saying? It's fun. You know what I mean? Just put 5 on it. You know what I'm saying? See how you like it. And then maybe it might be something, but we're not going to go like next week. We might get into passing yards with Jared Goff. You know what I mean? It's so many
Yeah.
fun ways to have fun and just it's not so tense. Like a lot of times when we're betting these games,
Look
people
at
are
me not
just
paying attention.
people are
It's too
tense.
early for me, man.
That's all right. You all right?
It's too early for
You
me.
done had your coffee. You still fumbling
All
around.
right, I done had my coffee and still trying to drink a bottle of water with a damn top on it.
Yeah, that's all good, man. But you know what though? It's like you know what I'm saying, Walt. I don't know if you can agree with this before we let everybody go today. Gambling don't have to be stressful, man. It don't. You know what I'm saying? You could just let it ride and just say, hey, I'm having some fun. My parlays, my brother out there, he parlay king, him and his partners. You know what I'm saying? It's fun because I don't get into the parlay. I know the system. I know how it works, but I just never do it because I never win anything betting wise. So I said, listen, I just bet little individual stuff. I like individual players. If you want to bet Jared Goff throwing 300 yards in the game, what I'm saying, or 250 in a touchdown, it's money to be made. It's just different. Just go to who's ever your sports book. I just suggest to everybody, whoever you down with, see what it is. You click on it, see the player, see what's available, and just bet responsibly. That's before we get off the air. We just want to say, everybody, bet responsibly. We ain't saying throw a bag on this or that. Just bet
But
responsibly.
take the mortgage money and let it ride.
Yeah, man.
Let
Yeah.
it ride.
Let it ride. Let it ride. No. But
Yep.
it's all good. It's all good. Well, I think we're gonna win this week, man. I think everybody gonna be all right. Um, you know, and all's gonna be well after this game, I believe. You know what I'm saying? If they don't, we talk about it. So either way,
Oh
we
yeah.
gonna talk about it. So
Either way. All right, everybody have a wonderful Saturday. It's gonna be pretty nice today. I think it's supposed to get to 86. So get out there, cut your grass, water your grass, wash your car, go get some ice cream, go get a few drinks. Whatever it is you do, man. I know most of us don't work on Saturdays. I'm one of those people. I don't work weekends at all. I haven't worked a weekend in years.
I don't either.
I refuse to. But that's a whole nother discussion. I'm too old to be working every day of the week, man. I'm not doing that. But I'd like to say, everybody have a good weekend, and we will see y'all Monday to break down this Lions win over the Arizona Cardinals. Peace.